The rain-slicked pavement gleamed under the flickering streetlights, reflecting the chaos of the night. Sirens wailed in the distance, their urgency slicing through the damp air of downtown Seattle. In the heart of an alley, Elena Martinez knelt beside a crumpled figure, her paramedic's instincts overriding the pounding in her chest. "Stay still," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her. Her gloved hands moved with precision, checking for injuries, but her eyes locked onto the woman before her, Maya Chan, trembling, bloodied but fiercely alive. There was something about Maya's defiant gaze, even through the pain, that made Elena's breath catch. It was supposed to be just another call. A late-night emergency, a bar fight gone wrong. Nothing new for a seasoned paramedic like Elena. At 28 she'd seen it all: broken bones, overdoses, hearts that stopped beating. But Maya, with her paint-splattered jacket and wild, dark hair, wasn't just another patient. She was a spark in the dark, a puzzle Elena didn't know she'd been waiting to solve. The call had come in at 1:17 a.m. A woman injured in an alley near Pike Street, possibly assaulted. Elena and her partner Jake had raced through the city, the ambulance's lights painting the wet streets red and blue. When they arrived, they found Maya slumped against a brick wall, her lip bleeding, her knuckles bruised, and a fire in her eyes that refused to dim. The assailant was long gone, but the story was written in the cuts on Maya's face and the way she clutched her side. "Name?" Elena asked, her tone professional but soft, as she pressed a gauze pad to Maya's lip. "Maya," the woman rasped, wincing but holding Elena's gaze. "Maya Chan." "Okay, Maya. I'm Elena. We're gonna take care of you." Elena's hands worked quickly, checking Maya's pulse, her ribs, her breathing. But as she leaned closer, her gloved hand brushing Maya's arm, something shifted. A flicker of warmth passed between them, electric and unnameable, like the first note of a song you didn't know you needed to hear. Jake was busy radioing the hospital, his voice a low hum in the background. The alley was narrow, littered with discarded bottles and the faint smell of damp cardboard. Rain dripped from the fire escape above, each drop a quiet metronome to the moment unfolding. Elena's training told her to focus, stabilize, assess, transport. But her heart, that traitor, was already memorizing the curve of Maya's jaw, the way her lashes fluttered against the pain. "You're gonna be fine," Elena said, her voice softer now, almost a whisper. She slid her hand lower, checking Maya's ribs for fractures, her touch careful but firm. Maya flinched, then stilled, her eyes searching Elena's face. For a moment the world narrowed to just the two of them, rain, blood, and a connection neither could explain. "Don't lie to me," Maya murmured, her voice laced with both fear and defiance. "I've had worse." Elena's lips twitched into a half-smile. "I'm not lying. You're tough. I can tell." She pressed gently against Maya's side, feeling for tenderness, but her fingers lingered a second too long. Maya's breath hitched, and Elena felt it in her own chest, a mirror of something unspoken. The ambulance's back doors slammed open as Jake returned. "Hospital's ready. Let's move." His voice broke the spell, and Elena snapped back to protocol, helping Maya onto the stretcher. But as they wheeled her toward the ambulance, Maya's hand grazed Elena's wrist, a fleeting touch that burned like a brand. In the ambulance, the fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows. Maya lay on the stretcher, her eyes fixed on the ceiling, but every so often they flicked to Elena. The paramedic sat beside her, monitoring vitals, her hands steady but her mind racing. Who was this woman? Why did her presence feel like a door swinging open? "Tell me something," Maya said suddenly, her voice cutting through the hum of the engine. "Anything. I need a distraction." Elena hesitated, then leaned forward, her elbows on her knees. "Okay. I'm terrible at keeping plants alive. Bought a cactus once, thought it was foolproof. Dead in a month." She chuckled, shaking her head. "You." Maya's lips curved, a ghost of a smile. "I paint. Murals mostly. Big, messy ones that take up whole walls." She paused, her voice dropping. "I was working on one tonight. That's why I was out here." Elena's heart twisted. She could see it, Maya with a paintbrush, lost in color and creation, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. "What do you paint?" she asked, needing to keep Maya talking, needing to keep her close. "Everything," Maya said, her eyes distant but warm. "The way light hits water, The way people look when they think no one's watching. The stuff that makes you feel alive. The ambulance hit a bump, and Maya winced. Elena reached out instinctively, her hand finding Maya's. "Stay still," she said again, but this time her voice was thick with something she couldn't name. Maya's fingers curled around hers just for a moment, and Elena felt the world tilt. At the hospital, there was a blur of white coats and beeping monitors. Elena handed Maya off to the doctors, her job technically done. But as she watched Maya disappear behind the swinging doors, something in her chest ached. She scribbled her number on a scrap of paper, slipped it into Maya's jacket pocket when no one was looking, and told herself it was just protocol follow-up care, nothing more. But as she climbed back into the ambulance, the rain still falling outside, Elena knew it was a lie. Maya-chan wasn't just another call. She was a beginning. 2 days later, Elena couldn't shake the memory of Maya's eyes. She sat in the break room at the fire station, her coffee gone cold, staring at her phone. She hadn't expected Maya to call. Most people didn't. But every time her phone buzzed, her heart leapt, only to sink when it wasn't her. The station was quiet that afternoon, a rare lull between calls. Elena leaned back in her chair. Her navy uniform rumpled from a long shift. She was used to the chaos of her job, the blood, the fear, the split-second decisions that saved lives. But Maya had unraveled something in her. A thread she hadn't known was loose. At 28, Elena thought she knew herself steady, practical, always in control. Yet here she was, daydreaming about a stranger's smile. Her phone vibrated, and this time the name on the screen stopped her heart. Maya-chan. The text was simple. "Thanks for saving me. Coffee tomorrow?" Elena stared at it, her thumb hovering over the keyboard, a grin spreading across her face. She typed back, "Only if you tell me more about those murals." 3 p.m. The Beanery? The Beanery was a cozy coffee shop in Capitol Hill, all exposed brick and mismatched chairs. Elena arrived early, her nerves buzzing like a live wire. She wore jeans and a soft green sweater, her chestnut hair loose for once, framing her face. When Maya walked in, Elena's breath caught again. The bruises on Maya's face were fading, but her eyes were just as fierce, her denim jacket replaced with a flowy blouse that made her look like she'd stepped out of a painting herself. "You look better than you did in that alley," Elena said, standing to greet her. Maya smirked, easing into the chair across from her. "You're not so bad without the sirens and gloves." Her voice was playful, but there was a weight behind it, like she was testing the waters. They ordered coffee black for Elena, a lavender latte for Maya, and fell into conversation like they'd known each other for years. Maya talked about her art, how she'd dropped out of college to chase it, how she'd painted murals in every corner of Seattle. Elena shared stories from the ambulance, funny ones, like the time she delivered a baby in a parked car, and heavier ones like the calls that kept her up at night. "You ever get scared?" Maya asked, stirring her latte, her eyes searching Elena's. "All the time," Elena admitted. "But you push through. People need you to." She paused, then added, "What about you? Painting in alleys at midnight doesn't exactly scream safe." Maya laughed, but it was tinged with something darker. "I'm not good at safe. Never have been." She leaned forward, her voice dropping. "That night, it wasn't random. The guy who jumped me, he didn't like what I was painting." Elena frowned, her protective instincts flaring. "What were you painting?" Maya hesitated, then pulled out her phone and showed Elena a photo. It was a half-finished mural, a vibrant explosion of color depicting two women embracing, their silhouettes glowing against a backdrop of stars. "It's for pride," Maya said softly. "I wanted it to be loud, unapologetic." Elena's heart swelled. She'd grown up in a conservative family, her own coming out a quiet, private thing. Seeing Maya's art, so bold and fearless, made her feel seen in a way she hadn't expected. "It's beautiful," she said, her voice thick. "You're brave." Maya's eyes softened. "Not as brave as you. Running into chaos to save people." They sat in silence for a moment, the air between them charged. Elena wanted to reach across the table, to bridge the gap, but something held her back, fear, maybe, or the weight of her own unspoken feelings. Instead, she said, "You should finish it. The mural." Maya's smile was small but real. "Maybe I will. If you come with me." The next week, Elena found herself standing in that same alley, this time under the soft glow of dusk. Maya had insisted on finishing the mural, and Elena, unable to say no, had come along, her paramedic bag slung over her shoulder just in case. The city hummed around them, but in the alley it was just the two of them, Maya's paint cans clinking as she worked. Elena watched, mesmerized, as Maya brought the mural to life. The women in the painting seemed to dance, their colors vivid and unyielding. Every so often, Maya would glance at Elena, her eyes sparkling with mischief or something deeper. "You're staring," Maya teased, brushing paint from her cheek. "You're making it hard not to," Elena shot back, her heart racing. As the night deepened, Maya set down her brush and stepped back to admire her work. The mural was nearly complete, a testament to love in all its forms. Elena stepped closer, her shoulder brushing Maya's. "You did it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We did it," Maya corrected, turning to face her. Their faces were inches apart, the air thick with possibility. Elena's pulse thundered in her ears. She wanted to close the distance, to taste the paint and coffee on Maya's lips, but the fear was still there, a shadow she couldn't shake. Then Maya's hand found hers, warm and steady. "Stay still," Maya whispered, echoing Elena's words from that first night. And before Elena could think, Maya leaned in, her lips brushing Elena's in a kiss that felt like coming home. The kiss lingered in Elena's mind for days, a memory she replayed until it felt like a dream. She and Maya had parted that night with shy smiles and promises to meet again, but life, as always, had other plans. Elena's shifts at the station grew relentless, back-to-back calls, car accidents, heart attacks, a city that never slept. Maya, too, was caught in her own whirlwind, painting commissions and dodging the whispers of those who didn't approve of her art. But they texted constantly, little sparks of connection in the chaos. Maya would send photos of her sketches, Elena would reply with stories from her calls, and slowly, they built something fragile but real. Elena found herself smiling at her phone during breaks, her coworkers teasing her about the mystery girl who'd stolen her focus. One night, Elena's phone buzzed with a different kind of message from Maya. "Meet me at the mural. Midnight. I need you." The urgency in the words sent a chill down Elena's spine. She was off duty, but she grabbed her jacket and headed out, her heart pounding with a mix of worry and anticipation. The alley was darker than before, the mural glowing faintly under the streetlights. Maya stood in front of it, her arms crossed, her face pale. The mural had been vandalized, ugly slashes of black paint marred the women's faces, the word "freaks" scrawled across their embrace. "Oh, Maya," Elena breathed, stepping closer. She reached for Maya's hand, but Maya pulled away, her eyes blazing. "They did this because of me," Maya said, her voice shaking. "Because of who I am. What I paint." Elena's chest tightened. She knew that anger, that pain. She'd felt it when her family had turned cold after she came out, when colleagues made offhand comments that cut deeper than they realized. "This isn't your fault," she said firmly. "This is their hate, not your truth." Maya shook her head, tears glinting in her eyes. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I was strong enough." "You are," Elena said, stepping closer. "You're stronger than they'll ever be." She reached out again, and this time Maya let her take her hand. They stood there, the vandalized mural looming behind them, a symbol of everything they were fighting against. Elena pulled Maya into a hug, her arms wrapping around her tightly. "We'll fix it," she whispered. "Together." The next day, they returned with paint cans and brushes, determined to reclaim the mural. They worked side by side, the air filled with the scent of paint and the quiet rhythm of their breathing. Passers-by stopped to watch, some offering nods of support, others muttering disapproval. Elena felt the weight of their stares but focused on Maya, on the way her hands moved with purpose, turning pain into beauty. As they painted, Maya opened up about her past, growing up in a strict household, hiding who she was, finding freedom in her art. Elena shared her own story, her parents' rejection, her years of proving herself in a male-dominated field, the quiet pride of living her truth. Their stories wove together, stitching them closer, and by the time the mural was restored, Elena felt like she'd known Maya forever. But the vandalism wasn't the end. A few nights later, Elena got another cala disturbance near Pike Street, the same alley. Her stomach dropped as she and Jake sped toward the scene. When they arrived, Maya was there, her paint cans scattered, her face bruised again. A group of men stood nearby shouting slurs, their fists clenched. "Stay back!" Elena barked at Jake, her protective instincts kicking in. She rushed to Maya's side, her hands trembling as she checked her for injuries. "What happened?" "They came back," Maya said, her voice raw. "They saw me fixing it. They said I was asking for it." Elena's blood boiled. She wanted to confront the men, to scream, to fight. But her training took over and she focused on Maya, her hands gentle but firm. "You're okay now," she said, her voice steady despite the rage inside her. "I've got you." As Jake called for police backup, Elena helped Maya to her feet, her arm around her waist. The men scattered when the sirens approached, but the damage was done. Maya was shaking, her confidence shattered, and Elena felt a fierce need to protect her, to make her feel safe again. In the ambulance, Maya leaned against Elena, her head resting on her shoulder. "I'm tired," she whispered. "Tired of fighting." Elena's heart ached. She brushed a strand of hair from Maya's face, her fingers lingering. "You don't have to fight alone," she said. "Not anymore." The weeks that followed were a delicate dance of healing and hope. Maya moved into a small apartment closer to Elena's, a decision born of both practicality and a quiet desire to be near her. They spent evenings together, cooking simple meals, watching old movies, or just sitting on Maya's tiny balcony, sharing stories under the stars. Each moment felt like a gift, a step toward something neither dared to name. But the shadow of the attacks lingered. Maya's confidence in her art wavered, her paintbrushes untouched for days at a time. Elena saw the change, the way Maya's eyes dulled, the way her hands fidgeted when she talked about her murals. It broke Elena's heart, but she didn't push. Instead, she showed up, night after night, with takeout or a bad joke or just her presence, steady and unwavering. One evening, as they sat on Maya's couch, Elena noticed a sketchbook on the coffee table. She picked it up, flipping through pages of vibrant drawing cityscapes, faces, moments captured in bold lines and colors. One sketch stopped her cold. A portrait of herself, her green eyes rendered with such care it made her chest ache. "You drew me?" Elena asked, her voice soft. Maya blushed, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Couldn't help it. You're kind of unforgettable." Elena set the sketchbook down and turned to Maya, her heart pounding. "You're pretty unforgettable yourself." She reached for Maya's hand, her thumb brushing over her knuckles. "You don't have to paint if you're not ready. But don't let them take this from you. Your art, it's who you are." Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "I want to try. For me. For us." The next weekend they returned to the alley, this time with a small group of supporters, friends, local artists, even a few strangers who'd seen Maya's work online. They painted together, turning the mural into something even bolder, a celebration of love and resilience. Elena stayed by Maya's side, her paramedic bag nearby, her eyes scanning the crowd for any sign of trouble. But the night was peaceful, filled with laughter and music from a nearby busker. As the mural neared completion, Maya stepped back, her hands covered in paint, her face glowing with pride. Elena wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it," Maya said again, her voice steady now. She turned to Elena, her eyes shining. "I couldn't have done this without you." Elena's heart swelled. She wanted to say 1,000 things, how Maya had changed her, how she'd never felt this alive, how she was falling hard and fast. But instead she kissed her slow and deep, under the glow of the mural. The crowd cheered, and for once the world felt right. But peace was fleeting. A week later, Elena got a call from Maya's neighbor. Maya hadn't been home in hours, and her phone was off. Panic gripped Elena as she raced to the alley, her worst fears clawing at her. The mural was untouched, but Maya's bag lay abandoned, paint cans scattered like fallen stars. Elena's training kicked in, but her heart was screaming. She searched the alley, calling Maya's name, her voice echoing off the brick walls. Then she saw Ida note tucked under a paint can, written in a shaky hand. "Meet me at the pier. Come alone." Her blood ran cold. She knew it was a trap, but Maya was out there, and Elena would walk through fire to find her. She called Jake for backup, her voice steady despite the fear, and headed to the pier, her paramedic bag slung over her shoulder, her heart a drumbeat of dread. The pier was quiet, the water lapping against the pilings, the air thick with salt and tension. Elena spotted Maya near the edge, her hands bound, a man looming over her. It was one of the attackers from before, his face twisted with rage. "You and your kind don't belong here," he spat, his fist raised. Elena's instincts took over. She approached slowly, her hands raised, her voice calm but firm. "Let her go. This doesn't have to end badly." The man laughed, but his eyes were wild, unsteady. Maya's gaze met Elena's, full of fear but also trust. Elena inched closer, her mind racing for a plan. She was a paramedic, not a cop, but she'd faced worse odds and won. "Stay still," she said to Maya, her voice low, a promise wrapped in a command. Then, with a speed born of desperation, she lunged, tackling the man to the ground. They struggled, but Elena's training gave her the edge. She pinned him, her knee on his back, until Jake and the police arrived. Maya was shaking as Elena untied her, pulling her into a fierce embrace. "I've got you," Elena whispered, her voice breaking. "I've always got you." In the weeks that followed, Elena and Maya rebuilt their world piece by piece. The attacker was arrested, the mural became a symbol of resilience, and Maya's art started gaining attention beyond Seattle. Galleries called, commissions poured in, and Maya found her voice again, stronger than ever. Elena, too, found a new kind of strength, not just in saving lives, but in living her own unapologetically. They moved in together, a small apartment filled with Maya's sketches and Elena's mismatched mugs. Every morning, Elena woke to the sight of Maya painting, her hands dancing across the canvas, her eyes bright with purpose. Every night, Maya fell asleep in Elena's arms, their heartbeats a quiet rhythm of home. One evening, as they stood on their balcony, the city sprawling below, Maya turned to Elena, her eyes soft but serious. "You saved me," she said. "Not just that night. Every day since." Elena shook her head, her throat tight. "You saved me too. I was just existing before you. You made me feel alive." Maya smiled, pulling Elena close. "Then let's keep saving each other." They kissed under the stars, the city's hum a backdrop to their love. The mural in the alley stood untouched now, a beacon for anyone who needed it, a reminder that love, in all its forms, was worth fighting for. Their story wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still whispers of hate, still moments when fear crept in. But Elena and Maya faced them together, their hands entwined, their hearts fierce. They built a life not just of survival, but of joy, of art, of love that refused to be silenced. And every so often, when the world felt heavy, Elena would whisper, "Stay still." And Maya would laugh, her eyes sparkling, knowing that whatever came next, they'd face it side by side. The end wasn't an end, but a beckoning, a promise that love, no matter how hard one, was always worth it. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.